everything. 'Cause girl, you're all I need. I mean, we give you everything. We gon' be alright. Take you for a ride. You bringing the peace in my life. But be like in the present that everything is alright. I need you, darling. I need you, darling, darling. And I would be like in the present that everything feels right. I need you, darling. I need you, darling, darling, darling.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
On the flow in the building.
And the time for it is 8:11, and it's time for us to continue our Life Today segment, commentary from Life Compton. Life. Oh, and we're also joined by Dr. Gerald Thompson as it is Monday morning.
Morning, Life. Morning.
Oh, wait, sorry. I mute your Life. Sorry. Hold on.
Yes, sorry. I was saying good morning, but please continue.
Morning, Doc. How are you? Yeah, you see, sometimes like there are certain things that need to be said, and when people say them, they will crucify people, right? As I'm going to stick, there's nothing. Remember, as I would say again, Colonel never said not to hand over illegal firearms to the police. He said you have to be careful which police officer you hand it over to. That's what he said. And that is a fact. He never said don't hand it over. And if someone means that they have an illegal firearm and they want to hand it over to the police, they will. Nothing he says is going to stop them. Right? If someone thinks that they have a legal firearm and they don't trust the police and they decide to go and pelt it far in the sea and it disappears forever, that is also very well. But what we can't pretend is that what he said doesn't have any merit to it. Two things can be right at the same time, you know. His statement can be correct and the police statement can also be correct. But you can't allow a statement to go off a technicality. The fact that maybe we haven't heard of cases prosecuted where police officers were given firearms and they never handed them in. We won't know if that happened. We won't know if it never happened. If I walk up to a policeman and give him a firearm,
how do we know it has happened?
We don't know it hasn't either. Two things can be right at the same time. We don't know.
So, but life, if that is the case, that two things can be right at the same time, then the police request $2 grand to tell us, show us some evidence that that part of right is then justified. I won't necessarily show it as a technicality that they have to now go and show that wrong is wrong. You know what I mean? That it is for Grant, who made the statement in some people's views, to show that right is right. You know what I mean?
Well, what I would say to that is that this is still a relatively young story.
Yes.
It's happened over the weekend. We could see where it goes, you know. We could see where it goes. We can wait and see where it goes, right?
Live, we have a call on the line. Hello, good morning. Could you?
Yes, Mr. Light. Yes, everybody. Like that statement that
morning, Kojo.
Morning, I don't say morning. Tell Life that Connell made a bad statement. You can't make a statement like that.
He can't? He did.
You cannot take a broad brush and before back the one big stroke and then come in. Life, you're trying to take the time brush now to fine tune that broad stroke. The man said, police have put the guns back on the street. And if I listen to that, I'm not afraid to give the policeman the gun. Because I'm of the opinion that once I give the policeman the gun, I'm coming back on the street. So, in the sense of the case, I may as well keep it.
Overall, police can't be trusted and all of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You say, I mean, yes, you know, some police, you can't, even when you think that something like that happens. why not go to the police? This is the same thing happened a couple of years ago. One politician said somebody come and tell him that people will kill a man, and he will go to the police. The man dead later, and then he come and make statement. Don't make the statement after. If you hear somebody don't get killed, you don't talk about it. Forget about it because you allow that thing to happen. You can't make them statement that police just put the gun back on the street. I mean like we go out in Trinidad, we know there are always going to be some police who, because police come from our society, so there will be people who are from naughty ideas in the head. But you can't, even though everything happening, you can't make that statement to the general public. You should make them think directly to the police.
That was in court.
It's not police. Yeah, but even in court, you get the information and it's on the radio now.
All right. Thanks, Kojo. Uh-huh.
You see,
if a taxi man tell you tongue dead.
Kojo, you 20. Just
bye.
Taxi man tell you tongue dead. Do are you? I will tell you, I used to like one taxi, I tell you. Them will tell you when tongue dead.
Yeah, but no,
But Kojo, suppose other taxi. Kojo, suppose other taxi guys tell you that, tongue bright.
That's not.
And business bright for them for different reasons. But we going off topic from what life is here for. So we did.
Pictures of tongue on a Friday.
But Kojo, that has happened sometime, Friday time tongue just slow.
All right,
you need several Fridays to see a trend. I think that's what Maka is saying. You know what I mean, Kojo? All right. Okay.
It's been, but you know what? Y'all going to carry me down this road. We're not doing that right now.
I won't get back to life. I won't get back to life. Life.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
You see, a statement like this didn't just get pulled from the air random, right? It didn't get pulled from the air random. We all remember what I don't know. What people like to forget. I don't know if you remember, because you remember in 2021 when three Glocks was stolen and an M4 rifle was stolen from the Georgetown police station.
Yes.
Somebody remember that? Police officer was charged. 10 police officers were eventually transferred from the station. Numerous amount of bullets. I don't even think they knew the amount of bullets that were missing.
Yes.
Who's one who was instrumental in helping the police get back some of these firearms? Anybody can remember? Nobody can remember that.
You were going to say Miss Grant?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? One of the guys that went to prison for that, he was eventually pardoned for buying one of them guns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not a statement that was just randomly pulled from the air. There was another incident where police, okay, just one sec. There was another incident where a police officer from, I think it was Barley, he was charged for selling bullets. You know what I mean? And there are other things that I can say. There are other things that I can say, but I choose not to say.
Yeah.
Let
me ask something. I tell you the truth. I am so impressed by your catalog of knowledge. I was listening, coming down this morning, I'm hearing in case 2090, case 2020, case 2020. I'm wondering if you have such a vast database and so forth of stuff and so forth that and you've been hitting the ball, and that incident in Georgetown is pointed and addresses exactly what you're saying. I do believe that there are always bad eggs, and that those bad eggs were dealt with. But I think the point that's being made is, and we see it on television, with all these television programs, we see the guys who are corrupt and they're being investigated by the police in internal investigation team, and they collude with each other. We know that these things happen, and that in other parts of the world the police are bribed and this, that, and so this is a global phenomena. I don't know where in the world that doesn't take place, even in the UK or Canada or whatever. But I have found, and I warn you, don't take this the wrong way, I've found that sometimes you yourself come across as hitting the police a little hard, and I'm curious about that. The police don't really get that element always of enough credit. They get some credit, but they don't get enough credit with respect to what they are doing. Do you find something you're accused of robbing the police the wrong way and a hard way and so forth? Because I agree, God would know of these things and would have been involved in defense of certain people and would have helped in especially in the Georgetown case. But do you find that in terms of your own commentary, where people have free speech, he has free speech, you have free speech, that still in that free speech, sometimes we rub the police the wrong way?
Nah, I don't do that.
Okay.
I have a very good relationship with certain members of the police force. Recently, I took money out of my own pocket and donated money towards the traffic department so they could have their breakfast with traffic initiative.
Yeah.
I mean, I always go out my way to help them promote whatever positive events they have going on. But me doing that, I can't hide my head in the sun.
In other words, should a list be published of police you don't interact with and give guns to, and don't interact with, and ones that you do, as you mentioned, a buju and a this and a that and so forth? Is there a need for something like that? Or do you have a list in your mind, or should people have a list of who they should interact with and who they should not, who they should trust and who they shouldn't?
That's for life or that's for grant?
Well, for life.
Well, the thing is, right? The police themselves have put out releases stating that go to a police officer you can trust.
Yeah.
Police themselves have said that.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I don't believe. You should have a specific place that you could carry the guns.
Well, but remember, it's not just
a trusted place. Let's say the Kittens police station, Calico police station.
Yeah. But remember, in this case, it's not just about, well, I know we focus on guns, but in terms of who you trust, it's also in relation to giving information, right? Who it is that you feel comfortable with, you give them information. Yeah. So, yeah.
When the police do good things, I usually.
Okay.
Life. Morning.
Yes. Listening, morning.
Yeah. Life, I have a question for you, though. Let's assume, just hypothetically, that the police had caught this guy with the gun. And then after investigating, the police found that this gun was, the police traced this gun back to a murder. Would this fellow that was found with the gun be charged for murder?
It's according. It's according. It's not always, it don't always go like that. Sometimes I know of cases overseas where guys have been caught with murder weapons, and then it was proven that they bought it from someone. They wasn't the one responsible for it. There are many cases, so it's not like always that you get caught with this, it traces back, and you're going to get charged for that murder. It don't really always work like that. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah, that's why I say hypothetical. That's why I use the word hypothetical.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to go back to life is last week you were having a conversation about men that goes to prison for child support.
Yeah, in Barbados.
You mentioned about Barbados.
Yeah.
And I want to tell that the system in Barbados says that when you go to prison, you don't go to prison for child support. You go to prison for contempt of court, not paying the money that the court ordered you to pay.
Not paying the money. Yeah.
Right. And then when the person come out of prison, in Barbados, when the person come out of prison, the money dies there. But you know what? The mother can then bring another case, a civil case, against the child father, and to go back to court.
And if he loses again, he goes back to prison. And the woman can do that to whenever he pays some money and send him to prison all the time through a civil case that she can bring against him once the court say you got to pay this money and he refuses to pay, and then he can go to prison, figuring out when he come out, he's dead there. But I think dead there because the woman can bring a civil case against him. So that's why he wanted to say to you with reference to that matter.
Okay.
I don't know if the same thing obtains in St. Vincent, but I can tell you that that's what happens in Barbados. And I was just curious this morning to know if the fella that guy was traced to murder, if he would have been charged. But I don't know, so I'm asking. And the other thing, life, is the fella that he was set free or he went to prison? Because I don't think I heard that part.
He went to prison, I think, for 27 months. Life, you hearing? All right, I think he went to prison for 27 months.
And one last thing I want to say before I go. I wanted to Dr. Thompson too, and to you, Roleza. But I want to tell Maka, and I want Maka to listen carefully to this. Because if you don't understand what I can tell you, Roleza, you or the doc can tell him. That when you want clear water, it goes to the head of the spring. Maka, you take note of that. Anyway, guys, I will continue to listen to you.
When you want clear
He wants
water,
to go to the head of the spring. That's a recorded message, though.
No. Other people say when you want clean water, you go to the head of the fountain.
You go to the head of the spring.
I know it's in spring, it's in Barbados. Here we say the head of the fountain. When you want clean water, you go to the head of the fountain. Right? Am I right?
Life keeps dropping in and out. But I'm trying to link. I don't know. I saw this morning. What we linking this to?
What
we linking that to? That saying.
Let me tell you what we linking it to. That I realized that my course seemed not to be comfortable taking my calls. Hello? And I don't know.
Oh, so I mean, okay. Oh, okay. So I was
Listen, I'm the one that take your call this morning.
Yeah, it's two different systems, two different computers. So Maka's on that side.
But Roleza, let me say this to you, right? Let me say this to you. Barbados got about 15 or 16 radio stations plus BBC. And you know what? I just ignore all of them for the morning just to hear you guys. I listen to you guys from Monday to Friday, from 6 to whenever knock-off time comes at 10. and I listen to the doc on Wednesday nights. I listen to Tuesday night program, and I listen to Joe Moore on Monday nights. I listen to the Tuesday night man. I don't remember his name sometimes, you know.
Kingsley,
the Freitas, right. I listen to him on Thursdays as well. I listen to Parliament down there on WEFM. I do a lot of stuff. I learn a lot of things about St. Vincent through WEFM. In fact, Roleza, let me say this to you. I didn't even know till I heard you with it last week. When you say that St. Vincent has 32 Grenadine Islands, I didn't know that.
Well, 32 islands and keys. Yeah, not 32. What?
Right, okay. Islands and keys.
Right,
I didn't know that till I heard you in it. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my mother country because, like I always say, my parents are Vincentians, so that makes me half a Vincentian.
Indeed, you know it does. All right.
But, yeah, so I just want Mr. Mako to know.
Mako, all right.
Send me the Vincentian terms.
You know what?
Send me Vincentian terms.
You know what you need to do? Come over here and live.
But I think about coming over there soon.
All right.
I think about coming there soon, and I also thinking about coming to visit the studio once permission is granted to visit the studio. That's what we're planning to do.
Not a problem. That can be easy arranged. Not a problem.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys.
Take care, Mr. Horn. All right.
Yeah. So in leaving, I don't want anybody to get me wrong, right? I'm not telling anybody to do not hand over illegal firearm to the police. If you have an illegal firearm, get rid of it. The best way, you know how to. If you want to give it to the police, find a trusted police officer, give it to him. Go to a lawyer, ask a lawyer to assist you to take it in. If you feel like you want to go and throw it in the sea far when nobody can find it, throw it in the sea. But I don't want anybody to say that I'm saying do not hand over firearms to the police. I'm just agreeing with Cont'd that you have to be very careful who you deal with when you're dealing with these things. You have to be very careful. That is just the fact. And two things can be right at the same time. Cont'd could be right. The police is also right. Maybe we don't have a lot of documented cases where these incidents happen, but we can't just bury we head in the sand and say every police officer is a good police officer. That is not the case. There are one or two police officers that are involved in things that they shouldn't be involved to, and it has been proven several times. There was an incident a few years ago where a guy from Shatibile was charged for having 10 kilograms of cocaine, and the evidence, part of the evidence was missing when it was in court. Cont'd was the lawyer for that case also. The guy was eventually jailed for 10 years, although some of the evidence was missing, and it was said in court that the police was going to bring in foreign investigators to investigate this missing coke. That never happened. You know what I mean? We never heard about where the missing coke went. We saw, as I said, in 2001, where someone was charged with removing a lot of firearms and a lot of ammunition from the Georgetown police station. People eventually went to prison. There was another incident with a police officer from Barely. Recently, there's a police officer now charged for, they said they're investigating for attempted murder, and his case has something to do with something that was missing in relation to evidence again. There was mention of something happening. I'm not really sure about the facts of this one, but when the Calico police station burnt, there was some other incident. I'm not sure the facts of that one, so I want to go into that. But there have been incidents where items have been missing. There are a lot of things I can't say.
Life, and I want to come back again because there are times when things are exception versus the rule. And, you know, I totally agree with you because I think this is true all over the world. James Mitchell wrote about this in his book, that because we are cousins and we are brothers and we have friends. And so there was a time in which nobody from North Leewood could get into the police force because there was a cannabis culture there in the hill, they felt.
I can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's on him. That's on Life.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Life?
I'm not hearing.
Yeah, okay. I was making a statement. You still can't hear me?
No, I think it's something with his device.
Yeah. I don't know, but Roleza and Maka, I just want to say that
I can't hear.
Okay,
all right. So wrap up.
I can't hear.
Wrap up. I tell you, wrap up.
You can hear me? You all can hear me?
Yes, we could hear.
Okay, so
wrap up.
What I'm saying is that I never said don't pass over whatever you have illegal to the police. I never said that. I just think that there is some truth to what Cont'd say, and people should not go around thinking that everything is all kosher and everything is all nice or whatever. You know what I mean? If you have something illegal you want to give to the police, go right ahead and give it to the police. I don't have a problem with that. But I think that this is just the start of what was mentioned. I think that in the coming weeks, you're going to hear stuff that you're going to say, well, I didn't even know that happened or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to get me wrong. It's just that we're not living in a perfect society. There's no perfect society. There's no perfect organization or whatever. That's just all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I can't really hear your response, right? Because I can't hear, but I know you all hearing me.
All right.
Roleza, sorry, I just want to come back. I think the message that really should go out is that, yes, we don't live in this perfect world. And there are a couple of bad eggs there. But if you have information that is going to lead to the solving of a crime, please find a trusted policeman or somebody in authority that you could give that information to. If it's a firearm, there are means and ways in which you could hand in that particular firearm. And there could be things. We need this because we don't want these guns on the street and we don't want people being scared of giving information. If there have been past instances, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50, these should be listed and chronicled, yes, but that should not prevent the new measures that are being put in place in terms of security of items, evidence, and so forth, as well as the encouragement that the police are saying, listen, it's okay to come forward now. Let's not use always that evidence of 5, 10, 15 years ago to say, nah, we can't do it ever, because we don't trust.
Yeah, well, I would just further add to that. The police do recognize that there has been this disconnect between members of society and the police in terms of that trust factor, which is why they have stepped up their PR campaigns in terms of letting persons, there's a repeated message. If you know something, say something, and say something to a trusted individual. All right. So it's not that the police, and to use the term that Life has been saying, have placed their head, have been burying their head in the sand in terms of not acknowledging that there are some rogue police officers. And because of that, there has been this stigma attached to giving information to the police, which is why they have stepped up their efforts in terms of giving that reassurance to the public of coming forward with information, with handing in firearms, with giving testimony in court in terms of how persons can be safe, etc. Yes. They have stepped that up. All right. So they are trying their best to help reassure citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right. So with that, we will come to the end of this segment. Life isn't here, but that's the end of our Life Today commentary. We will have another one tomorrow, again at 7:45. This is Activated Mornings here on WEFM. When we return at about 8:45, we will bring to you Doc's commentary for today.
Nothing else sounds as good as WEFM.